right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV begins right now. Great to be with you as always. Me and the boys are here. There's Ira, there's Corey on the other side of the glass. Brought to you by our friends at Register Sausage. Yay, sausage. A lot of people had that at Hotel Indigo, Ira, when we were doing the pregame show, walking around. Everybody had a sausage dog, and then I suppose carried over into the stadium.
Yeah, I hope so. They also had him at the softball, at the Plex. They had him at softball games over the weekend as well,
Plex.
and at Joe Campbell Stadium. So people, hopefully you spoke. Hopefully you spoke with your wallets and your stomachs and got a lot of Register Sausage so that they will bring it back in the future to Florida State sporting events. And if you weren't there, have no fear, Corey.
Don't fear.
Can go into your local grocery store. If they don't carry it, talk to the meat manager, ask for it.
No, yeah.
Politely.
Now, does every grocery store have a meat manager, or is it just Publix? Like,
I think
if you go to, I don't know, Piggly Wiggly and say, "Where's your meat manager?" Will they know what you're talking about?
They better have a meat manager.
Yeah, exactly right.
If they don't, there's going to be problems because the headliners, will speak.
I don't think the people are rolling over to the Piggly Wiggly like they used to.
It's not the 1950s.
Is it
anymore.
defunct? Is the Piggly Wiggly still
Oh,
around?
I think you still got some Piggly Wigglies out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Arkansas, probably, right?
So when I was in college, I actually worked at you know what it was? It was Pick and Save. I had a job.
I was about to get excited.
Doing
You
maintenance.
worked at a Piggly Wiggly.
I did not work at the Piggly Wiggly. I had a job in maintenance at our apartment complex. And the guys that worked in the maintenance department for our apartment complex, Corey, were some rugged dudes. There were some rugged dudes.
Yeah.
And so the first day I'm working,
They weren't working their way through.
No,
University of
that was
Miami?
pretty much the apex. They were good guys though, and so they said, "Hey, we're going to lunch. You want to go?" And I was like, "Oh, sure. Where are we going?" "Oh, there's a seafood buffet," and it was at the Pick and Save.
Yeah.
It was like a $6 seafood buffet.
Yep.
Trust that one, don't you?
That was the last time.
Yeah.
last
You
time I
didn't
went
do
to
it
that.
again.
Yeah,
You didn't do it again.
wasn't long for that job. But anyway, you can local grocery stores in the southeast. Go to ask for Register Sausage, or if you live out elsewhere, registermeats.com is the website. They'll deliver it to you. It comes fresh, delicious. You'll be happy. You'll feel like you were at Joe Campbell Stadium.
I would think they would have them at the Hoggly Woggly as well.
I don't
You think the Hoggly Woggly is around?
I think so. I think there's about to be a
resurgence?
A
rebirth
run. Yeah, let's
of
go.
Hoggly Wogglies and Piggly Wigglies.
Well, people who were around Tallahassee in the early 90s remember the Piggly Wigglies and the Hoggly Wogglies.
Yeah.
I do. I remember them very, very
So
well.
hopefully the
Swanee Swifties as well.
Oh,
The
yeah.
concession
Swanee
wasn't
Swifties.
bad.
Yeah.
We don't know what the concession lines were like on the spring game. They maybe weren't the most staffed.
Based on the tribal council, not a lot of happy returns to the, little concerns about the length of the concession stand.
Hey, by the way, this concerns me. And not just because Ben and Register Sausage may have gotten shortchanged because people couldn't get their sausage dogs in a timely manner at the concessions there. But damn it, man, let's have our stuff in order when the season comes around here, Florida State. I'm reaching out today because we're well in advance of a very anticipated season. A lot of people excited about Florida State football again. And given the fact that Florida State football wasn't any good until last year for like 5 years, and they still struggle to get people in and out of the damn stadium, what are we going to do now that people actually want to go to games?
Was it a struggle even on Saturday?
Well, not Saturday, no. But I'm saying,
you're saying
I'm
get
just saying,
ready,
get it together.
It's always a hard discussion for us because we're pampered media. Like we don't have to
But
wait
we
in the
care
long
about
lines.
the common man.
We do,
know common man.
But a lot of times we don't really see it. Like
We don't.
we're not
Oh,
there.
I see it and keep walking to the press entrance, but I see it.
Yeah.
And I think those poor bastards, unless I'm one of those poor bastards going with my dad and my kids sometimes, which I do on occasion, you can't get in. You're just sardines. It's awful.
If you remember the war chant, if you go to the tribal council, though, there's a long line of people commiserating with you. You can vent because there's a lot of people and a lot of ideas, a lot of suggestions for how Florida State could do that better. We'll see. Maybe
and it's important. We shouldn't the fan experience is kind of a big
serious.
deal.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
it's just so beyond the scope of what we, it needs to get better.
It has to.
We've
covered
that topic.
It's fair to point it out, though.
Sure.
I mean, it should be pointed out on the regular because it's not getting better.
What about those fireworks, though, gang? Fireworks were happening. Did y'all see them?
I didn't see the fireworks.
I did. When they ran out the first time, the fireworks.
I missed the fireworks. All right, so the spring game isn't really the story, although we will talk about it. The story is that they got the number 1 tight end in the country, wrestled him away from Georgia. He was originally a Florida State commit. Then Georgia got him, and you understood why he went to Georgia because all they do is churn out first-round draft picks at tight end.
Yeah.
But now you got him. And you know how much I love tight ends. Love tight ends. And I just say.
I wonder if Landon realizes about 4 practices into his Florida State career, you're going to be like, what's up with Landon Thomas?
What's his
When's
story?
Landon Thomas going to start catching
He's
passes?
not what I thought he was.
I love tight ends, and I'm really excited about Landon Thomas. And listen, you get a 5-star kid like this. We talked seriously about the need to continue to recruit well. It's a given. But to dip into that high school ranks and get you some 5-stars again to go along with all this great portal recruiting, well, there you go. And it moves you into the top 5. Now we're cooking with gas, boys.
I actually just posted a story right before we came on here from Warchant.com that people can go check out. It's a free story. You don't have to be a subscriber. You can go read it. But not people. So last year, in last year's recruiting class, how many top 100 players do you think Florida State had in that recruiting class? Top 100 in the country nationally in Florida State's last recruiting class.
For on 3 rankings?
One. Pretty much all of them. Yeah, Hakeem Williams was the only one.
Yeah, I was going to say 1 as well.
1 in the top 100 in the country.
And that's not going to get it done.
Right now, they're one of only 5 schools in the country with 3 in the top 60. They have 3 commits in the top 60. Landon Thomas, Luke Cromenhawk, the quarterback, and Cam Davis, the running back. They're also the favorite for 2 guys in the top 15, Charles Lester, defensive back from Sarasota, the 5-star, and also another who's the other player? And there's another player in the top 15. It's a lineman. The offensive lineman from Pensacola, Jonathan Daniels.
Right.
They're the leader for him. So there's 2 guys in the top 15. That would give you 5 in the top 60. There's a couple more guys in the 60s or 70s that they're the leader for. And then there's a couple other guys in the top 100 that they're in the mix for. So they could get 6 or 7 or 8 guys in the top 100. That's compared to a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago.
You couldn't even get them on campus. And now they're here, they're visiting, they're committing.
You're winning some of them over.
Yeah,
right.
Florida State doesn't take a lot to get you back at the elite level in recruiting. It just, if history's any indication, I know it's different now with NIL and portal, but Florida State's always been this. It's been this for 45 years now. If you're good and you have a good staff, you can get really good players.
Yeah, as I say, operating at peak efficiency, you're always going to do well here. This is a destination job for coaches for that reason, Corey. They know that if they do well and their system works, you're going to get players. I mean, to your point, historically, that's just true. That's not true at a lot of other locations. And so, we know that the programs that have great historical cachet can turn things around quickly with the right guy. We always say that it's the right guy, but it's true. You go back to when Bob Stoops turned it around so quickly at Oklahoma. I bring this up a lot just because of Oklahoma ties, but they had failed for some time with Blake, and obviously Snellenberger was there even for a year. People forget that. I mean, they had a lot of failures in a row, and then Bob Stoops walks in, and in 3 years, Oklahoma's back to being, unfortunately, really good because they beat us in the national championship game. But that's how fast it happens at a place like Oklahoma, at a place like Florida State. It's true at most places that have had any kind of historical cachet.
But it's also what we wanted to see, right? Like, we knew he was good at offense, and he proved that last year when he had capable players. We know he's killing it in the portal. The one question we still had is, okay, can you get to the level that Florida State is accustomed to? Speaking of accustomed, the show,
you and I were talking.
If you're not a top 10 consistent recruiting class in the high school ranks, and we wondered because he had never really done it, can he bring in the elite high school recruits when he's battling against Georgia and Florida and Alabama for these guys? And this is a really good sign, right? This whole recruiting cycle has been a really good sign.
Yeah.
Not just the guys that
you got to keep it going. You got to bring them on.
The guys that are interested, the guys that show up.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a really good sign.
Yeah, they just had the nation's number 1 safety, KJ Bolden, just came on a visit a week or so ago. I mean, it's been one big name after another. But yeah, I mean, think back to Jimbo, and really, Jimbo is the only comparison that most of us have in our lifetimes. We weren't paying attention when Bobby Bowden got here in 1976.
Yeah,
not even us old folks.
Yeah, no,
Corey.
Yeah.
You were just a gleam in your daddy's eye in 1976.
No, I was born.
He was born.
I know. I was just trying to make you feel better.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, I mean, it's so Jimbo's really the perspective we have, and he had 2 huge advantages, which we've all talked about. Number 1, he was the head coach in waiting, so he was out recruiting on the road while other head coaches couldn't be out on the road recruiting.
And he got all those visits.
And he got all those, all those homes. And then it was a big benefit when he got the job in that first class with LaMarcus Joyner and those guys. Then he had success that first year. Like, that was huge too. If his first year had been 6-6, he might be in the same boat that Mario Cristobal's in right now. I mean, it's if you don't have some success that first year, it's tough.
Gotta have
And
it early, yeah.
And Mike Norvell didn't. He was 3-6 in a COVID year, then 5-7. So, like, it's fair to say, can he do it? But it was almost no chance he was going to be able to do it with those first 2 seasons.
Yeah, we knew going into last year that that season was of the utmost importance. And we really talked about it ad nauseum on this show, my show, Wake Up Warchant. You wrote about it. We all talked about the need to have a winning season to prove that you're a good coach. And I brought up the point that there are good coaches get fired all the time. Something goes wrong, and then the weight, the avalanche of the things that didn't go the way you needed them to becomes too much to overcome, and then now you're out of a job, even though you might be a really good football coach. And we thought, the three of us, that Mike Norvell, just from eyeballing it, was a really good football coach, but the results weren't there. And then the problem was you thought, well, we think he's a good coach, but the record's the record. And they did lose to Jacksonville State. And it's hard to argue that that is ever okay.
And don't you think that?
And, I remember thinking, like, oh, no, that might be too much to overcome. Luckily, he didn't waver.
And when that came in his tenure, like he had just gone 3-6, and you're like, okay, but now he's had a year to kind of turn it around. And then he starts off the next season 0-4, where there's a lot of kids that maybe would have been interested in Florida State in September of that year. And they're like, that's a wrap. I'm not going there. They're 3-10.
You know who decommitted right around that time? Landon Thomas.
Oh, did he really?
He decommitted in 2011.
I understand, Landon. I would have maybe decommitted too.
You might have had second thoughts at that point. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You might have had second thoughts.
And then it's fair to have third thoughts when you see what's happened since. Obviously, since Norvell and I's moment in the press conference, things have completely flipped. But before that, I would have, if my son was committed to Florida State and they were just 3-10 and had lost to Jacksonville State, I would be like, okay, man, let's pump the brakes.
Let's open it up a little bit.
Yeah,
maybe take a look around. What else is out there?
That's how life works. You don't want to.
Yeah, you got to win, man. It's the ultimate. This is a cut and dry deal. This is a black and white deal. You either win or you don't. That's all there's to it. And if you do, then your message has a chance to resonate because somebody will sit across and listen to it.
Yeah,
they're not coming to listen to whatever your modus operandi is if all you do is lose. And he got that chance, and he's hitting it now. We think he's going to hit a home run.
Yeah, these aren't like real extensive job interviews where you're like finding out, like having like these long questionnaires and doing personality studies and figuring out the people. It's, do you win or do you not? Do you put players in the NFL or do you not?
Yeah,
those are where it starts. And so every coach can have a great personality and all those things. And Chad Simmons, who's our recruiting expert for On3, he used a quote I put in that piece where he said, look, recruits always liked Mike Norvell. And they've always liked Florida State.
Yeah.
But you just can't sell 3-6 and 5-7. Well, now they had something to sell. It's changed everything. Now they have these commits here. The one thing I would say, though, is you can't have a bad season and expect to keep those kids, like none of these guys are signed yet. They have to have,
that's
you
why
have to
we
deliver the results.
The enthusiasm with the modern era of recruiting. And after what happened with Travis Hunter, we all know the situation. Like, he's verbally committed. Good.
Yeah.
And it looks good. Creates momentum. Certainly it creates a buzz. Your name's in the limelight again. You have other kids that are of that scale begin to look over and say, okay, so that's a destination now. You think about Cromenhawk, the quarterback, who's shutting it down, right? He has decided he's coming. Well, if you think about in recruiting, there's a real buzz around that kid. He keeps getting better and better and better. It doesn't figure to slow down, right? He's a talent. He can really spin it.
Where does he play? Where's he in Savannah?
Yeah, it's a private school.
Okay.
But he's a kid now.
It's like a military school, I think.
That when you read, if you talk to Michael Langston or you read any of these things, these recruiting services, a lot of your top end guys, once they say they're committed and they're shutting it down, well, then they go and they are that mouthpiece. They are your voice. They are the guy that helps create even more interest from other top line recruits. Hey, I'm going to Florida State. Come on with me. We're going to do well together. So now you have a chance because you have a coach whose message is resonating and you have frontline players that are saying yes.
At Pro Day, and that wasn't Pro Day, it was the Legacy Weekend when Jameis came back. You weren't around. I think you were out of town or something.
I was out of town, yeah.
But Aunt Winston was there and with Jameis, and he asked about you, and we talked a little bit.
Still love Aunt?
He still loves you mostly.
He gets mad at me sometimes.
I feel like maybe you were a little harsh on the Jameis Bucks years, a little bit. Maybe.
Was it because they won a Super Bowl immediately after you left?
No, it's because
and then threw all those interceptions.
No. Listen, it's a complicated relationship Aunt and I have. I have talked to Aunt on and off the record.
Yeah.
I love Ant. I got nothing but love for him.
And he loves you too. He's a little.
He got mad at me
still.
because look, man. Every now and then you have to acknowledge 30 interceptions is a bit excessive.
It's a little bit.
It's a little excessive. And if I say that it's excessive, then I was a hater. So what are you going to do?
No, he still loves us. He loves all of us, but he definitely loves you. But anyway, I was talking to him, and the first thing I brought up is the first thing I always bring up when I see him is that, because I got to hate on Jimbo, because that's what I do, that it was him, it was Ant Winston and Mario Edwards Sr. that really built that class. Class,
correct.
Because they got Jameis and Mario Jr. together, and then they went and recruited everybody else, the Darbys and the Cashers and all those guys, because those guys were the bell cows and they went out and got everybody else. They should have been co-recruiting coordinators for that class.
But it's true. Like, I mean, the coaches have to have a good rapport. They've got to establish relationships. They got to know these coaches. They got to go see these kids. They got to do their due diligence. But to a larger extent, I mean, assuming you're going to do that because it's in your job title, you've got to create a buzz. You do that by winning. Once you do that, then you get the yeses from the elite recruits. Once the elite recruits start saying yes, other elite recruits are interested in that. Those recruits talk to those kids that have said yes, and then boom, you've got this.
And I'll be honest, that's where I thought Hornibrook's dad did a disservice to Florida State.
He didn't
He
didn't
go bring anybody with him.
No,
Nobody. It was just Hornswoggle by himself, and that didn't get
came
it done.
across country by himself.
I remember you texted me that night that Horn Dog said he was coming, and I said to you, man, this is huge because his parents are really going to get involved.
They're going to get involved. They're going to bring some other.
And who's going to say no?
Going to open up the
pipeline.
Play with
Hornibrook? I mean, who says no to that?
Think about all of the big time paydays down the field if you're a receiver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to about 38 yards.
With that big arm, you're stretching the seam too, buddy. You're doing it all.
Willie
opens everything up.
He had a plan. He stuck to it, and it worked out perfectly.
Seminole Headlines is off to a great start. 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Car accident? Call Facing Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk radio show. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where I provide clear answers to all your questions about Medicare.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
I'm Andy Cohen with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me at 850-671-FARM.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Crawfordville Auto and Tires remix, y'all. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires. Automotive service, there is no one finer. Tires and struts and wrecks and pinions. ASE certified technician. 12-month, 12K guarantee. Same-day service, usually. Engine rebuilds done complete. Brakes and shocks, that's no small feat. Keep your AC blowing cool. CV joints, emissions too. Open weekdays till 6 at night. Give them a chance, they'll treat you right. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires, 2170 Crawfordville Highway, Crawfordville, Florida.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, so this just further creates the buzz amongst the fan base that we're already excited about. And now you got to get through this summertime, man, that's coming. I mean, I more than anything else.
Well, at least we got an exciting 2 weeks with the portal coming up.
Well, you hold your breath, right? Hold your breath. I mean, there'll be some good and some bad with that.
Yeah, well, exciting. It could be bad excitement or good excitement, either way.
I want it to be quiet. I want to maybe a linebacker, maybe an end, maybe I don't know. You know, I mean, a couple areas.
You're talking about the receiving side. The shipping side may be an issue too.
Yeah, no. You worry about that.
Some of them got to ship out.
Yeah, Brendan Gant he's decided that he's taking it on down the road. I will say Brendan Gant was much more effective last year than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
He did a good job in the transition to linebacker. Clearly he didn't like it. But he was one of the better ones at covering, which is an area of weakness for that group, in my opinion. But, that's not the end of the world. It's also not shocking that you lose Brendan Gant. You're probably going to lose some more guys. We'll see. Knock on wood that you don't. But there are some guys that, frankly, a lot of people would like to see leave and maybe need to find greener pastures because they're not going to play here.
Well, they're going to need some of it because they have to get back to 85.
Yeah.
They're going to be over. Plus, I mean, especially if Destin Hill actually shows
might be on
another one.
I forgot about that guy.
Yeah,
but,
in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so they're going to have to get a few guys to leave that I think will probably want to leave on their own. Again, you've got 17 or 18 offensive linemen. My guess is there's going to be a couple out of that group.
Yeah.
And there's, going to be a few others. You just, again, like it's like turning on the water spout, like just a little bit. Like you don't want it too much because there's probably going to be guys on this team right now that would have opportunities if they went somewhere else from an NIL standpoint. And you don't want to lose all of them. So that's it's just going to be a fun couple weeks.
Mark, I want to thank you as always, stepping
Mark
up
from
big
Naples.
here. Yeah,
Pillar.
Mark is solid as a rock. Thanks again, guys, for a great experience for the Warchant community this past weekend. And are we really living in a world where we get 5 stars to flip from Georgia to FSU LFG?
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
You're the
Appreciate
best, man.
you, buddy.
It's awesome seeing you this weekend again.
Yeah, I know it's a good world to live in when you're stealing recruits from Georgia, but that's what you got to do. And we've never really made any bones about this, that Florida State's next step is to make themselves relevant in the college football playoff. Those are the teams that make it. It's Georgia, it's Alabama, it's Ohio State, it's teams like that. You got to be able to recruit on that level.
Going to be a lot more in a year or two, right? When is the new playoff start? Is that 2025?
Next year.
I know.
Yeah,
2024?
I think so.
Yeah, so just one more year of this, and then you're top 12, baby. Yeah, there's going to be a whole new world of teams making the playoffs.
But then from there, again, I think that we'll always look at this as a program that should be competing for or aspire to compete for national titles.
Sure.
That's what you have to recruit against.
So just speaking of Georgia, so I looked up Kirby's record. So his first year he went 8-5, which isn't great, but it's
passable for year one.
It was okay. Then his next year he went 13-2. If that didn't happen, he wouldn't have. They probably wouldn't have become what they've kind of become. I mean, there's been.
Like if Megan Fox wasn't really hot, she wouldn't be an actress.
My point is, like, you have to have that success early to kind of get it going.
Yeah.
And so where Florida State is now, if you can keep it going,
you hope that was their 10-3, 8-5, like that was their 8-5-ish moving into a really special season the next year, because that next year was when they lost to Tua in the national championship game after beating Baker Mayfield in the Rose Bowl.
And if, and again, you get to that point now where you start playing at that level, you're Florida State again, and you're in the state of Florida. And so you have all those, going back to Jimbo, like the one thing I never felt like he appreciated about Florida State, he knew all the drawbacks. He knew all the warts, and there are some. There have been some in terms of money or whatever else, but he never seemed to value the recruiting base.
Certainly didn't mention it if he did.
Yeah.
So,
That didn't come up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weirdly, because he would remember plays from 1989 and 88 when they were building the dynasty, and then it's like, I don't. Then he goes to A&M that gives them everything under the sun. Some things he didn't have at Florida State.
And not working out.
Not really working out.
26 players in the portal since last year for Texas A&M.
Hey,
did you see his?
That's a toughie. He went back at the media.
Well, no, but the other thing was he's like, because I guess they have like 70 or 71 guys on their scholarship right now, and so they're going to be active in the portal. And but he's like, yeah, when I was at Florida State, we never carried more than 80 or 81. Like, I don't know that that's true. I mean, I'm not going to go back probably and count, but he's basically like, yeah, we were never anywhere near 85.
Not a big deal. It's not a big. Don't be
71's
alarmed.
fine.
Don't be alarmed.
It's okay, 52. We're just going to have 52 good
Did you
ones.
even go?
right ones.
Did you go to the spring game?
I watched it.
Okay. Ira and I were there.
Yeah.
Ira was sort of there.
I watched it on my computer, and then I rewatched it on my big screen.
What'd you think? Any takeaways? Anything that
I
you
talked
liked?
about it yesterday on the wildly popular Jeff Cameron show. You could have heard all the takes. Corey.
Oh, my bad.
Still 1-3.
Yeah, still 1-3. And Ira
Ira
came
was
on.
on. Ira was on too.
Really
What
got
about
in depth.
T-Lane?
Yeah, he was there. Everybody was there.
Did Tom talk?
Good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
No, I thought obviously it was. Spring games suck. I hate them. Most of the time they're not interesting at all, especially if you're fortunate enough to be one of us who goes to every practice. So you get to see what you've already seen. For fans,
Which is
that
Rodney
might be
Hill
different.
never in a green jersey.
So
my man, just come tackle. Come
real-
get some.
Real quick to interrupt real quick, and you go right back to what you're saying. But
He just had 2 hours yesterday to talk about all this.
I do like what Florida State. I do like the
But
fact
you asked me.
I do
It's my
appreciate the fact that Florida State's administration and the coaching staff, Mike Norvell particularly, didn't like try to create a perception that it was going to be a game.
Mm-hmm. Called it a showcase.
They called it a showcase.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he was imploring, how many
Fill it up.
coaches will like
Fill up the stadium.
we better see that stadium filled. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, we're going to have a practice. If you guys want to come, that's awesome.
It's going
We'd
the
love
way
to
of the
have you.
dodo, by the way.
But I appreciate the honesty.
Right.
Anyway,
And I think
go
we
ahead.
were honest. At least I was honest on Wake Up Porch. I'm like, man, spring games kind of suck.
They
It's not a
always
game.
have. They always
You've
have.
always been honest.
I'm
The
not
Jameis game is the only game. I've been doing this for 15 years covering spring games. It's the only one I really remember is the Jameis game.
Well, I
out of
remember
15.
Willie's first because it's sold
Well,
out.
I remember the end
But
of it, him running
yeah,
around.
running
That
around
was
all that.
That was
Yeah.
a cool
great.
moment.
That was actually the
Yeah, it was
only
really neat.
cool moment of the Willie Taggart era.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the thing of it is, it's not set up to be all that entertaining, and people go thinking it's going to look like a game, and it doesn't, so they're disappointed. And you hear that a lot, and I understand that. But coaches are going to value keeping their players healthy, and they're not going to, go like they did. I was at the Dan Kendra game, spring game, when he blew out his knee. And I remember thinking, well, that'll be the end of that.
Yep.
And it pretty much has been. Now, you look around the country, you're seeing this, right? You're not seeing games. It's just not – there's not a lot of it. They're always situational a lot of times.
Sometimes you're not seeing offense like that Florida
Woo!
one last Thursday night.
Yep.
Man, it's a toughie. But
At least it was on national television for everybody to watch.
on a Thursday. But but the point would be, you see enough things that, obviously it was a great day for C.J. Campbell. I don't know what that means. It means they didn't want the other guys to get a lot of carries. I know that. I know that Toa Feely showed off that speed on his touchdown. I thought that the Brock throw at the end down the seam was really nice.
Morlock.
To Morlock.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great throw,
Yep.
and he showed toughness because he was awful
Yeah.
to start, and then he rebounded nicely, and that shows a lot of mental toughness in that situation to do that in your
I thought
first
my
ever
man
spring game.
Norvell, we didn't get a chance to talk to him again. I thought we would yesterday. Throwing him out there to the Wolves as Glenn's first appearance was with a second, third team offense against the first team defense. It's like maybe they're thinking it's never going to be any tougher than this. Just go.
Right.
And he kind of got a really nice completion taken away because they called a sack as he let it go that Morlock caught for like a 25-yard gain.
It was a sack though, but
but I mean, it was a really nice throw under pressure.
No, listen, he's shown a lot of stuff
Yeah.
this spring, and so that continued over. I was happy for his success. You saw a little bit of everything. You saw Jaheim Bell finally get it going later in the scrimmage.
But you know what he is.
Let me ask
you know what Jaheim is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask. Curious your guys' opinion on it. The Deloach interception. So it's easy to say that, like, he stared him down. So then Deloach comes over and picks it off. But I also wonder if that was like a scheme because Cypress was the DB. Who was the receiver? Was it
I don't know.
Span? I can't remember who the receiver
I don't remember
was.
who the receiver was. Yeah,
but the receiver starts running deep and then stops and turns around, and Cypress runs deep, like he's got the deep third. And then as soon as that's happening, Kalen runs over. So I almost wonder if it was like he was replacing him in that coverage. But anyway, regardless of what it was a great play by Deloach. I mean, it wasn't a great throw, but it was a really nice play by Deloach.
Yeah, he takes advantage of an opportunity,
and
which he's got to do.
I mean, those are the plays that
he also stripped that ball and recovered it,
yeah.
and that was he would have scored. So, well, maybe not. I mean,
I think he scores on that one. The pick six, maybe not. Maybe not. Ja'Kai could have tracked him down.
But I was happy to see the larger point. I was happy to see Deloach play well.
Yeah.
And he is a good player. He really was a good player for the first half of last season. I've said to Ira yesterday that I feel like he was dinged in the second half of the season. He slowed way down. He wasn't nearly as fast.
If you watch the replay of the LSU game, he's all over the field.
He's all over the place. He was
and
shot
that
out of a cannon.
coming on the heels of his really good 2021. At the end of 2021, he was good.
Remember the Boston College game where he had like every tackle? Yeah. So he's a guy that I thought could take another step, and hopefully he will this year, and he's healthy. Maybe that's an indicator of that. I was happy to see it. I don't know that there was a lot really to learn that we hadn't already learned this spring as media members, just being there.
I think
maybe
it
for
just
fans,
kind of emboldened what we already thought.
I'm sorry, Corey. I will say this.
Do not ever interrupt me
I'll point while I interrupt.
I mean, that is
I'll
the
point at your
ultimate
ass while I interrupt.
betrayal.
I'm going to tell you I'm interrupting with a point.
And you could cut off his mic, but you're not even going to do that because you don't need to do that.
That's all right because we can talk it out.
Yeah.
It's all right. He's not easily offended. All day Dre, which he really didn't do much. And then you get that catch on the sideline.
End of the day, Dre.
End of the day, Dre. And you get the balance.
Man,
and
come on now.
That was actually well played.
Yeah.
And you get the balance. You get the shiftiness. You get that speed.
He showed his whole bag in that one.
And
the
that
catch
one
wasn't easy.
play.
Yeah.
That one play, you're like,
I'm so glad he
does
had
that a lot.
I'm really glad he had that play.
Yeah, he's a really nice player. I thought Portier's day was good. I mean, they were just
the catch Portier made down the sideline.
Yeah,
that's as good as it gets, man. And then
if you go back and watch it, I mentioned this yesterday on the Jeff Cameron show, Corey.
Right. We were doing all kinds of spring talking.
I like that y'all just regurgitate it. Let's go. Let's
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if you've gone back and watched. Have you gone back and watched have you slowed it down, that play, that catch?
No.
Go. It's incredible. I mean, he leaps, goes full extension, and he doesn't like grab it. Sometimes like they one hand it and it just sticks in their hand. He has to kind of like tip it back to himself.
It also wasn't a lobby pass.
No.
It was a line drive shot.
Yeah.
Those aren't the ones you normally one hand and deflect to yourself.
That catch and then the smoothness, the way he ran on the one for the touchdown, to me, I changed my opinion of him. I thought he was more of a product of Mike Norvell's offense. And if he's going to be in positions, he's going to be open, he's going to catch passes. But those were plays like he went and made plays.
Yeah, he might have some stuff to him. And I think we know 19 does. And that's why I wanted him to have a just so we didn't look like complete buffoon. Like we've been talking this kid up. And I know, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't care about it.
Yeah.
We do know what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But him being able to showcase that for everyone else, just on that one play, the speed, the shiftiness, the toughness, the competitiveness to not run out of bounds, to keep, the whole thing, turning a 9-yard catch into a 44-yard catch. That's stuff they don't have maybe a ton of at the wide receiver position right now. And he's certainly got that.
I will say, and we'll put a ribbon on this for now, but I do think the same questions we had going in, because now's the time where you nitpick because you're trying to win a championship. If you had questions about safeties, I don't know that they got answered. They weren't awful. They weren't great. There was nothing that really stood out about the safety play in this game.
Which is kind of what it's been like the whole spring,
kind
honestly.
Of just a malaise of sort of like, I don't know, maybe. I think we all believe Shaheem Brown's going to have a good year. We haven't seen it really in the spring. Yeah, he hadn't been bad, just hadn't been good. And so I'm still waiting on that a little bit. And I've never had a problem with the starting linebackers. It's just there's not a ton of depth there, and I worry about that if you're competing for championships. You need to go get a linebacker. You need to go get if there's a top-end guy out there, could you get him, bring him in? Would you exercise that option? We'll see. You're right. The portal will be fun to watch, and we'll see how FSU is affected, who they bring in, if anybody, and then who they lose. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
Officers responded to a local hospital around 2:30 p.m. on Saturday in reference to a man who had arrived with non-life-threatening stab wounds. It was determined that he sustained the injuries at Tony's Quick Mart located at 1720 Lake Bradford Road due to a physical altercation with suspects outside of the store. The investigation remains ongoing and no arrests have been made. McCulloch County Sheriff's Office is warning the community of scams involving calls regarding missed jury duty and payments to fulfill IRS obligations and active arrest warrants. Regarding jury duty, residents receive jury duty notices from the McCulloch County Clerk of Courts by mail. If a person is the subject of an IRS investigation, they will be notified via mail. The IRS, law enforcement, or the courts will never call and demand payment in forms of gift cards or any other forms of payment in lieu of being arrested. For anyone that has been defrauded or the victim of a scam, contact WCSO at 850-745-7100. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs around 82 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear again tonight, lows level off around 55. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow, highs level off around 86. Bright sunshine expected Thursday with daytime highs approaching 87. 86 Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
Discover the tastes of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
This is where I just turn and serve the softball without serving the softball. I'm just going to tell you guys to run with it because I have to cough.
Okay, I have a question for it. Well,
okay, go ahead. I can hear while I'm coughing.
Okay. So people can't see my viewpoint from here, but right now, like, so you're on the other side of the glass, but then there's a little monitor in front of you, or so like an iPad or something, where I can't see your shirt.
Oh.
But at the end of the last segment, I glance over to my screen and I see your shirt, and I'm like, "What the hell is that shirt?"
Yeah.
And then literally the segment ends. I go to my phone, and Matt, who works with us now, texted, "Hey, what's up with Jeff's shirt?"
It's It's a taco doing the gritty.
I mean, Ira doesn't need any more explanation than that.
It's a taco doing the gritty. He's got his hands up. It's fantastic. It's one of the greatest shirts ever made.
What's the?
You know what the gritty is?
You know what the gritty
I
is.
do, but like I don't quite get why you're wearing it on your chest.
Because I like the irreverent
like
silliness of a shirt that's absurd.
I like the one that says Taco Cat spelled backwards as Taco Cat. That's a funny shirt. I would wear that shirt.
Well, I wear this shirt because I like
it's a cat in a taco.
I just like that the taco is doing the gritty.
Okay.
Going back to the conversation.
Also, I love tacos. So that once it involved the taco, now we got tacos out here doing the gritty. I had to have it.
Yeah,
got like all
and you love
like all kinds of tacos.
Yeah.
Right.
Love them.
Right. Any kind.
Yeah.
So in the last segment, you were talking about the linebacker depth.
Yeah.
And somebody in the chat, I think it was who was it? Let me look back here. Khalil brought up that Omar and Lundy look good. Omar Graham and DJ Lundy look good.
Yeah.
I think they're good too, man. I think they're fine.
They're fine.
I get this thing,
right?
But it's fine. Like, and I heard you and Aslan on Wake Up talking about like the needs of these backups, and it's like I don't know who's got really great like backup players like in college football? I mean, other than Georgia, and I know like that's the aspiration.
Buddy, that's where we're trying to get to. We're climbing. You just want to stay down here at this level. I'm trying to climb.
I want to live in a real world with real expectations, of real hopes and aspirations, not like the fantasy Candyland.
There could be a really good linebacker that comes on the market
that wants to come be a backup.
No,
he may have to
selling
start.
that. I mean, it's not like you've got Marvin Jones and Derek Brooks in the linebacker spot. So if you sell him, look, you have a real chance to start on a top 20 defense on a top 10 team.
Okay, well then I don't have a backup for them because either Deloach or Bethune would be in the portal.
But you can't operate that way. That's my point.
Plus, you can't. Not if you get them on the last day of the portal at 11:59. Sorry, boys, you're stuck. That's how you got to play the game.
Yeah, but I'm also not. I get it's a larger picture, Ira. We both know that there's always.
I'm not saying I'm not saying that those guys are like you couldn't dare. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. I don't think you might get another backup that you're not going to think is a great backup just because he's new.
But I didn't want to go do that. I don't know what he said, but I'm not trying to go out here and bring a run-of-the-mill linebacker in to be with the other run-of-the-mill linebackers. I'm saying if there's an elite linebacker that you could get, you should get it.
Yeah.
Because that's a position to me that could use upgrading.
And if
it means that Tatum Bethune decides to leave, well, then he leaves.
Right, the conversation a lot of times gets to depth. And it's like, we need a fourth or fifth defensive end. We need a fourth or fifth linebacker. It's like, man, I don't know that you're going to get anybody good. And it's funny because like when McClendon left, everybody's like, oh, we're good. And now it's like, hey, well, let's go find a defensive end.
I said you would want him in your 4-man rotation. I never said we're good. I said you're better with him than not. Is he a difference maker? Is he a game changer? No. Are you better with him? I think you are. So when he left, I was disappointed. It's not the same as if Jordan Travis leaves, but is it bothersome? Yeah, it bothers me a little bit, but it happened. Gilbert Edmond and he might be a very similar player. They stylistically know, but the height and weight is the same. We'll see what happens. I just think at linebacker, you could do better. You're on the cusp. I really believe this could be a good defense, very good defense this year because of that defensive line, which we've talked about. And I don't know that you are in a position right now where you would compete for a national championship per se, if we were talking about the depth of talent on the roster at that position. I don't think those guys are bad players. I think they're better players.
Also, you can sell that you run a 4-3.
But they don't.
But you could sell it, Ira.
Okay.
Again,
you just want to
look,
Corey's out
I
here.
don't have the personnel.
We're shrinking people.
We're thinking about a 4-3. We're thinking about, look, if we had another good linebacker, we'd think about a 4-3.
If we had an All-American, we're running a 4-3, Bubba.
We change our scheme just for you.
Yeah, we will change our entire scheme for you, but because we want you on the field that bad.
Sorry, Greedy and Noles.
Yeah, right.
So you're out of jobs.
I do. I agree with you, though, that I'm not bringing in a guy just to bring in a guy.
Okay.
If it's a really good player and he's disgruntled, he's at Ohio State and he's pissed off because he's third string and he's a 5-star kid that can really move and you could bring him in, do it. That's all I'm saying. And
I mean, but we're also like, they are losing guys like Deloach and Bethune are gone after this year. You do plan for 2024 too. If there's if you got a multi-year guy,
yeah.
If there's a former 5-star, even if you don't think he's going to start this year, but he's in the market, I don't know that you say no because you're still planning for 2024 too.
I just think
you're not going to get a rental player to be a backup. Right. You're not going to get a rental.
Yeah,
player
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah,
and your space is limited, man. Like they're not going to be able to go out and sign a bunch of guys.
No.
They need to get guys to leave just to get close to 85.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe one or two guys.
And I get it. Nobody's really fired up about their backups, but when I look at the safety position, if and this is the example I used, if Shaheem Brown twists an ankle and Akeem Dent bangs up his shoulder, your safeties are going to be what? Duke Cooper and KJ Kirkland? I mean, that's not a championship.
Kirkland's a freshman who's going to, we think, be very, very good, but you have to thrust him into action before
Travis
you want.
Jay, I mean, you these are people you can't count on because you haven't seen them.
But I think like teams in every sport, every day around the country and around the world, when you lose starters, it has an effect. I mean, I know.
But the deeper rosters out of Alabama and Ohio State and Georgia are what you're aspiring to.
Right. And I just think Florida State, I believe, Florida State is at a time right now where they're going to need to stay healthy. To challenge those schools.
Amen.
They're not going to be able to withstand a bunch of injuries.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And it's
some positions they can, but
at offensive line they could. Yeah. But there aren't too many positions where that's true. If you continue to build on it, and we'll see who leaves. Brendan Gant just left. He was a quote unquote linebacker. So, I know you need more people to leave, but if you're going to replace him, let's say, and there's a guy out there, especially if he's a front line. Now I understand you end up probably upsetting the apple cart if you bring in a starter, but trying to win. So
yeah, you can kick over that apple cart.
You can be as pissed as you want to be. You
It'd
know,
also be nice if Deloach was a player, which, again, he's shown flashes of it. It's not – see, at the safety position, we haven't seen flashes of what we've seen from Deloach. You know what I mean? Like, Deloach has played at times like an all-conference linebacker. He has. The LSU game we brought up, the end of 2021.
Yeah, no, he's had his moments. I like Deloach a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got it in him, maybe. It would be nice if, like, he made that step or was consistently there, because they talk about him as if he's very, very important to that defense. Everything about him is very important to that defense. So if he could make that step, well, then maybe linebacker isn't the thing you want. Bethune's a fine college linebacker, and Deloach might be good, like all conference good. The safety, I think Shaheem Brown can be something, but it's speculation at this point.
But it's also like I don't know how many at bats they're getting to show us what they can do. I mean, like, it's not like we're seeing them get beat over the top.
Hakeem's had a million at bats.
He's not been a bad player. He's been up and down.
I didn't say he was bad.
Right.
You could go get better, though. Maybe. You might, but you might be upsetting that apple cart.
The thing about Shaheem is,
where did that phrase come from? By
upsetting the apple cart. Yeah, look that up. You love looking these things up.
I got nothing else to do.
I would say this. It is interesting that earlier Adam Fuller
seems like a simpler time where you're just walking down the street downtown.
Oh,
there's an apple cart.
Oh, there's another one.
And as long as nobody upsets it, well,
he's going to be all right.
Then we can go buy an apple.
Verb to use, not knock it over, not kick it, upset it, as if you say something rude to it. Like, look at you stupid apples in your stupid cart.
Look at this slow ass cart you're in.
Yeah. Oh, you upset?
Clogging up the roadway.
You getting upset? Apple
Get it
cart?
together.
Okay, I'm looking it up. Y'all keep talking.
It's interesting that Adam Fuller called out the position. We don't know if he was saying specifically Shaheem Brown or Hakeem Dent, but the position of safety. I think he knows they got a chance to be really good, and he's excited about what they could be because they haven't been great. They haven't been terrible. They just can be a lot better. And I think they can this year because of the defensive line. He needs those guys to make plays. I like that they put an emphasis on turnovers. You know, I asked Mike, I was standing right next to you when I did it after one of the practices. I mean, I don't know. It's a hard answer for him to give. I said, you know, how is it, you know, you talk about Coach Surtain coming in and putting an emphasis on creating turnovers. And I asked him specifically, like, well, how? Because a lot of a turnover is turnover luck, as we know. But he talked about techniques and putting a greater emphasis on it and having people be mindful of trying to create that. I'm paraphrasing his answer. Well, you saw some here in that game.
Well, I thought the best part of his answer, and I thought it was a good answer. I thought the best part of his answer was when he said, sometimes you could say you'd like to, basically like sometimes you'd like to have turnovers, but there's another mentality of go make the play.
Right.
Don't wait for the turnover to happen. Go make the play. And it sounds like he was saying that Patrick Surtain speaks that language.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait for the play to come to you. You go make the play. Play don't care who makes it, Corey.
Yeah,
I've been saying that for years.
One of my favorite Ira phrases.
Who upsets it.
Hey, did we figure that out?
So it's a reference to the way that carts for selling apples are traditionally stacked in a neat and orderly manner.
So you can't upset that.
This keeps the round apples from rolling out of the cart and all over the floor. If you pull an apple from the wrong spot, the entire neat stack will fall apart and you have upset the apple cart.
You don't have to tell me. I've upset the produce section at Publix a couple times.
Have you knocked over stuff?
Yeah, a couple times. You're trying to find the right avocado or the right apple.
I saw a woman do that recently and just walk away.
That's not me.
That's not how you live. That's not how you live life.
That's not how you live life at all.
If it was that baseball pitcher, he'd take a picture of it and tweet it and complain about them. Did you see that the airplane thing?
No.
Oh, never mind. Are you on Twitter?
Sometimes.
Well, you're wise.
You know what I'm talking about?
I vaguely.
So this guy, I think it's Bass. There's a pitcher named Bass. Anyway, he tweeted a picture from the airplane where his kids and his wife are sitting in their seats and there's popcorn all over the floor. And he tweets indignantly that Matthew could probably find it and put it on Twitter, or on the screen. But he couldn't believe that the flight attendants were asking his wife, who's 22 months pregnant, to try to clean up the popcorn.
What? She's how much?
22 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
I was going to say,
22
is she an elephant?
Married to a panda?
22 weeks
Is
pregnant.
she a gray
asked
whale?
her to pick up the popcorn off the floor.
Right. Because
meanwhile, the 5-year-old and
the
2-year-old who made this huge mess, and the 5-year-old and the 2-year-old sitting there with their headphones on, and they can't be bothered. And he's like, and the guy
so
just
he
gets
got
crushed.
killed.
Oh my God!
Well, good. That's crushed. A great lesson of life. Like, you think you're right, and everybody figures it out for you.
Dude, like nobody's saying you're 22-week, 5-month pregnant.
Maybe
wife.
you could, big guy.
Or I don't know if he's on the plane, but the 5-year-old certainly could.
I would excuse.
Or just say, I'm sorry. You know,
Sorry about that.
We'll give you a tip or something.
Yeah, I would certainly excuse the wife if she was 22 months pregnant. My God.
I mean, that's a long.
She must be thinking to
flying at that
herself,
point.
holy moly.
Yeah, you should not be on a plane if you're 22 months pregnant.
Oh, do we have it? We got it? No?
But then he then went and like did a lot of memes of different. He tried to have fun with it. He tried to be self-deprecating, but man, the guy got crushed.
And he was a Major League Baseball pitcher.
Yeah, I think it's Bass. I never heard of him.
He was on a not a private plane.
Now, his wife and kids were not on a private
He must pitch for the Marlins or the Rays. Now look at this. We got a whole conversation going about this.
No. There's two things going on.
Okay.
We were trying to do two things at once, but there may be some news that we have to check into.
Oh,
okay. And we're going to break right now,
well,
right?
we got a minute and a half. But
Okay.
what I'm going to tell you is that we will try to find out confirmation on this bit of news because it is involving Florida State football.
I was going to say, what did you, real quick, like a 25-second synopsis on the 3 backup quarterbacks?
Tate played well.
He was fine, right?
He was fine.
Was Tate, right?
Yeah, he was
made
Tate.
a couple head shakers and some really nice throws.
I thought Duffy was whatever.
Yeah.
And then I really liked at the end, Brock kind of bounced back nicely.
I was bummed for Duffy because I thought until that horrible interception he threw,
it was a really
he had a nice day. He had converted a bunch of third downs with his running and some throws.
Hey, listen, so let's just do this real quick. I have no idea. I may be completely wrong on this. I'm not going to – this isn't a hill I want to die on and I'm going to argue about. But doesn't it just feel like if somebody isn't here in a year or two that it's going to be Duffy who's not here?
Yeah.
I mean, did you sense that as well?
Yeah, that's me sensing it. Yeah, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was hoping it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw it out
he
there.
would make the most sense, right? He's sandwiched in between the guy that will be a 5th-year player in Rodemaker and the true freshman that's in my opinion, as good as he is already right now.
And then you
you
brought
got
another
the kid
quarterback,
coming
Romanhawk
from
coming
Savannah.
in, who everybody's really, really excited about.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
can't have
like,
5 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it just feels like that room somebody will leave that room, and if I had to guess, it would be AJ Duffy.
Yeah.
I may be wrong. He could stay and fight it out, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I mean, continuing to try to get better. Used to be back in the day, you didn't start here until you were a redshirt junior.
Amen. Even if you were awesome.
Yeah, you just got in line.
Yeah, it was stay in line.
I know the world's changed, all that, but all right. So we'll break. We'll come back. We'll find out what that news was, if in fact it is something we can confirm. Seminole Headlines. We'll get to your headliner questions as well. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment. My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the 3rd one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
To call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Comfort to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Comfort to call away. Parker Services. Comfort to call away.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Tampa Bay Lightning open up the Stanley Cup playoffs tomorrow as a $1.30 dog at Toronto. Minus 150 for the Maple Leafs, 6-0 at Scotiabank Arena. Series price, Maple Leafs favored to win the series, minus 155. Tampa Bay plus 135. The Rays off to a 14-2 start to the season. They're a $1.38 favorite at Cincinnati today. Jalen Beeks for the Rays. Hunter Green for the Reds plus 126. 9.5 under the total. The Braves at Max Fried on the Hill, the $1.46 road favorite at San Diego plus 136. 8.5 over the total at Petco Park. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Every piece of land has a story. Some right there is behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor, like the Upshaws.
This is my tractor Penny. It's all about attention to detail.
But the Nelsons love cruising around their expansive Montana ranch in their John Deere Gator UV.
We've been here since 1868.
While the Caggianos drive a John Deere zero-turn mower to keep their Long Island brewery looking sharp.
Don't call me. Don't bother me. I'm going out to mow for a couple hours.
Run with us and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
Discover the taste of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Don't need the headphones to do the second hour, boys.
Dicey. There was like Ira coming in right before the show at 1 o'clock.
You were getting nervous.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could have carried it for a little bit.
Well, I wasn't nervous. I heard the indicator. I was going to do it without the headset on. I just had to get a message to my son. He's kind of pissed me off a little bit. So I was,
wonderful. Good. I got that out there.
Yeah, sending a message to him.
You want to share it with the class? No.
Not during Heather Birch's time.
No, not during Dr. Birch's time, who I saw yesterday because Clark went in for a checkup.
Is that the one that pissed you off?
No, Bryce.
The other one. Okay.
So anyhow, that no, excuse making is not my favorite thing, and kids are good at it.
Because you were never 15.
Oh, listen, I get it, Ira. I get it, but my parents were right on this, and so I'm explaining this to him in no uncertain terms, right as the music's playing.
It's great to have those conversations. Do you remember being on the other side of?
Yeah. It's
a few years back.
Dr. Birch was doing great, by the way. We had a lengthy discussion about a lot of things that included football, and it was lovely to see her.
Good.
Everything's going well. It would if your kids need to go to Birch Orthodontics as well, because they're the best in the business.
We can't recommend it enough. And the nice thing, we need to have at one point like a Seminole Headlines Dr. Birch Children's Braces reunion party, because there have been a lot of friends of ours and people we know in the community. You meet people and they're like, oh yeah, our kids went to Dr. Birch too. It's a Birch family.
Yeah.
The Birch Orthodontics family, Stephanie's kids, Jean's kids.
Yeah.
My kids, your kids, forget about it. All of them.
And
everybody's big smiles. It's, that would be nice. You can hang that up in the lobby.
Let's make it happen. Dr. Birch is the best in the business, great staff. And it's not just her. She has a great staff. They do great work, latest techniques, great customer service, payment plans, free consultations, conveniently located right there off Capitol Circle near Thomasville Road. BirchOrthodontics.com is the website, BURCH orthodontics.com.
If you're not going there, you're an idiot.
That's really should be their motto.
Yeah.
So
you
were
don't like
into
your kids.
And you probably don't like your kids.
You're against them.
Yeah. Much like Jeff is with his oldest son right now.
No, not against them. Just clarifying some things that are going to be done.
Okay.
That's all that is. We were trying to get clarification as well about Antavius Woody. He did say via his Twitter account.
Right. So he tweeted that he's planning to enter the transfer portal. Yeah, Matthew just brought it up on the screen. That's the Twitter account for Tavius Woody. I remember from him as a recruit, so I assume that's him.
He's followed by a bunch of Florida State coaches. That Twitter account is.
Yeah.
So.
And,
something to note here: he was a redshirt freshman. He had moved from offensive line to defensive line, and so
it's been an interesting journey for him. Coming out of high school, he played both positions. Some schools recruited him as a defensive line, some as an offensive lineman. He came to Florida State to play. They initially started him on the offensive line, moved him to the defensive line. That's a deep depth chart.
Yeah.
And as a redshirt freshman, I'm sure it looks a little intimidating and they just keep bringing in more transfer defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And
toughie.
So it's not a shocking development. And again, as we talked about in the first hour, Florida State needs to clear up some cap space. So this isn't shocking. He's a talented kid. I mean, it's not like he was blowing you away at practice, but I mean, I think he'll have some good opportunities.
I wonder how many more kids we'll learn about here in the next 48 hours or so.
Or 48 minutes. Maybe he's the first domino of many to fall.
I don't know about
I think
many.
you said at the last break that we should be seeing some names.
Yeah, and there you go. It happened just like that.
You spoke into existence.
We suspect in areas in which you have an excess of talent, you will see kids move on and seek a place where they can maybe go plug and play.
Clearly, this is not a big loss for the 2023 Florida State football team. He was not going to play. You can't say that we have no idea what he's going to end up being. He might end up being a really nice player somewhere, a good player, and you might lament this. 2 years from now. But in this right now, he was not a factor at all
No,
for
and,
anything.
and I can say this, and I'm not trying to run the guy down, but just to give people perspective, because we're at practice and everybody else isn't. But of those young defensive linemen, the ones that win a lot of reps are Daniel Lyons, Ayob Tafasi.
There you go.
Love
me some
even Bishop Thomas.
Mhm.
You see them consistently, winning some more reps. So not to say Woody couldn't develop into that guy, but he just moved not too long ago to defensive line. So it's definitely something would have gone terribly wrong for him to be on the field this year. There's not like a lot of strong indications he definitely would have been on the field a lot.
Is Bishop Thomas? He's a D tackle, right?
He is, but I think he may when Fuller talks about playing 4 defensive tackles, I think he might be saying Bishop Thomas could be that big end.
I'm trying to think
They were trying to put him out on the
Right.
edge earlier in camp, and just to see if they could develop him.
There's got to be something you can do with his name, like in a chess move, when it comes to him making a play.
Oh, nicely done.
But I don't know. Bishop to something. Bishop to Rook 3, but that doesn't make sense. Bishop to
No, you keep working at it.
Spitballing it.
Yeah,
Bishop
just
to QB1.
maybe not on the
How
air.
about
Do
every
it,
time he
do it at
sacks
home while
someone?
you're driving down the road. Let's think of
it'll come
something.
back. I think Bishop to QB1 every time he sacks a quarterback.
Mhm.
That's something. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, you're trying to get there.
It's not there.
You
yet.
work it
You're
out.
Right.
Or if they can get another defensive lineman named Knight, they just need to go find
Bishop at night.
yeah.
I like it. Sir Stuart Wallace writes, "Life wallet, more like life support." Am I right?
Man,
Go
tough,
Noles.
it's tough days for old John Ruiz.
Yeah,
We didn't see that coming, did we? Clown show.
But,
Why can you imagine you're a Miami fan? You're like, oh, there's our guy.
Yeah.
And then you get these indicators, and people are kind of pointing out those indicators are troubling. And then you're in denial again because you want to be back so badly. It's been 20 whatever years and still not back. And you're not going to be back.
And then every time there's a big money, it's either Nevin Shapiro or a guy that just created false financials for his company.
It's wonderful.
It's like Elizabeth Holmes, whatever that stupid company she was that read your
that
blood.
was did you see they quoted there was a quote in that article, the most recent article Darren Norvell did about John Ruiz. They talked about her because somebody said, yeah, he has a thing that he says could make $30 billion, whatever. But Elizabeth Holmes said she had a test
right,
that.
right, yeah.
So she's the reference.
Question for Corey from Sean. Talk me through the reasoning of not proposing on your recent cruise.
Well, I didn't have a ring.
There you go. That's the end.
Weirdly, Coco K is not a special place that me and Stephanie go to a lot. We don't have a history there.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a
Coco K is no corner pocket.
No,
it's not a corner pocket.
They might try to call themselves a corner pocket of the Caribbean, but they
not.
can't. They can't pull it off.
And there were, 35 of her really dear friends there, as opposed to just her and I.
Including
I get
us.
It's
including
not,
us.
Yeah, including Jeff,
Yeah.
Jeff and Ira. I mean,
And the YouTube audience.
And the YouTube audience was great. And look, I get it. Like I said, there's one person in America that wanted to be proposed to a corner
You
pocket.
don't have to explain yourself, man.
All right.
That first answer was good enough,
Okay,
buddy.
sweet.
Will Travis J be a contributor on defense or special teams, or just on the roster for the 2023 season?
If he's on the roster, he'll be a contributor at safety.
Yeah.
He'll be one of the top 4 or 5 safety, unless they go make some moves in the portal.
I would think
he'll be in the safety rotation if he's here.
Yeah.
They just don't have a whole lot of other options after him and Duke Cooper.
Yes, they don't. That's why we got about 12 days.
But you got more time. It's just the deadline for the 2 weeks is just them going in the portal. They could get guys out later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just this
When
is
is
for
that window. Is there not a window?
Corey's getting to a point that I think is representative of the fans of college football, which is there's too many ways. Too many ways in which people just ride the hell out at any time.
Yeah. All right. So the deadline for in 2 weeks is just they have to declare I'm in the portal if they're an underclassman. If they've graduated, that was my point about like Bethune and those guys. If they've graduated, they can leave whenever they want. They can leave in July or August.
But that's always been the case.
Yeah,
Like if you're a graduate, you can just ride.
But these other guys, they have to declare within a week or two, but they don't have to. Like the other schools still have plenty of time to sign them.
All right.
And what we get into, though, and I did bring this up yesterday, is it will be fascinating to watch to see how different programs handle situations like this, because I think there's a lot of lying that goes on to these kids.
No way.
Yeah,
college coaches.
Yeah, no,
college football coaches.
It's not even that.
It's sad to see what this sport has turned into.
Yeah, kids are going to be told that there's more money elsewhere from pseudo agent types. That hey, we'll use Florida State since we're talking about Florida State. Florida State says they're paying you market value, but I'm telling you, I can get you another $100,000 over here. And then in some cases, that's just a lie. They cannot. And there are myriad reasons why guys do that. De facto agents do that. But then that kid believes them and then finds out that it's not true, and they want to go back to the school that they just declared that they were entering the portal from. I don't know that it's a guarantee that every school is going to be like, yeah, come on back. Some might. But now you have to have a policy, one would think, in this era of how are you going to handle these things when a kid decides that he's going into the portal and he's going for money specifically. Then he finds out, much to his chagrin, that money doesn't exist, that you weren't lying to him, and now he wants to come back. How do you handle that?
I think it's all case by case and we've seen it. Leonard Warner went into the portal a couple of years ago and they brought him back. If they leave on good terms, I think that's one thing. If they leave on bad terms, like the two recent examples, think about the way Norvell talked after Sam McCall left and when Derek McClendon left.
Right.
He couldn't barely say anything about Sam McCall leaving, but he gushed about Derek McClendon. So I think those gives you an idea of where they would stand.
And Keyshawn.
And Keyshawn. Yeah. And it's also how they do it, and how they, go about leaving.
Where is Keyshawn? Has he landed anywhere?
Cincinnati, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Cincinnati.
Key. Nice.
If you could be guaranteed a future all-ACC caliber defender from this cycle of the portal, but could only take him at one position, would you choose defensive end, linebacker, or safety? This is from Jonathan.
An all-ACC player.
You get a future all-ACC defender from this cycle in the portal, but you can only take him at one position. Are you choosing a defensive end, a linebacker, or a safety?
Well, the discrepancy I have there is when is it future all ACC or is it like
this year?
ACC
We're going to say
this year.
We're going to say 2023 all ACC defender.
I mean, I would probably go. I'd probably go safety. I don't see how you're going to get that at defensive end.
You might already have two all ACC.
Yeah, why? I mean, I just don't see why would. I mean, it's just hard to even wrap my mind around.
Imagine having another one that's like that. That'd be nice, right?
It would be, but I just can't imagine that they would come here.
I think you might.
And if it's a linebacker, then you're going to lose one of those other two, which is fine. I'm just saying that's the reality of it.
I feel like I still might roll with defensive end. I think if you're rotating those three guys, like three all ACC caliber defensive ends, that's a really nice.
It's a tough call between that and linebacker for me, but because I do believe Shaheem Brown's going to have a good year, even though admittedly we haven't seen he wasn't great in spring. FSU has 3 two-sport athletes, writes Jason, committed in the 2024 class. Is Norvell fixing the baseball team too?
I looked up, so on Game Changer, there's this app on Game Changer called Game Changer, where you can look up all these box scores from baseball games all across the country at the amateur level. And I looked up Wilcox County, that kid,
BJ Gibson,
that just committed. And they only did like 7 games, but all 7 games he had 2 hits and like a double, a home run, stolen bases. He would pitch 2 innings and strike out 6. It's like, okay, and I know it's a small school, but it sounds like he's a pretty legit baseball player to go along with being a really good football player.
Did either of you invest emotionally or otherwise in the 2 losses, the final 2 losses in the NC State series?
No.
I mean,
I still did.
Are you serious?
What is the matter with you?
My wife laughed at me.
Have you watched?
I cannot repeat what I said when we were walking the world at the end again.
Yeah.
Walking the world.
But you knew that
again.
was going to happen.
Well, what drives me nuts
they
is
don't have any pitching.
I know, but you hit a go-ahead home run in extra innings, and then you're going to walk everybody? I mean, that's what we're going to do? And I said something that's not nice. I can't say it on the air.
Right.
And I mumbled it, but my wife caught it as she was walking by, and she rightfully pointed out, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you do this? Because I was seething. Watching people walk in runs is just.
I'll tell you something else. It sounds like Christy walks by Jeff a lot.
Yeah, she doesn't
not
watch
a lot
college
of hanging
baseball
in
with me.
the.
She's not watching college baseball with me.
She's just walking through.
She's like, yeah. And she's doing her dutiful thing, which is, would you like something? Do you need a beer? Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, of course.
Which is obviously what I expect Stephanie to do now that we've made that.
What a good woman does. But, I mean, yeah. So she'll come by. You need anything?
Yeah.
You want a massage while you watch the game?
She knows that you're upset because you somehow still care about the 2023 Florida State.
I'd like to win a game. If I'm watching, I want them to win. Hey, listen, if they're going to play the games, let's try to win one.
2-19 in the last 21.
Jesus, man.
2-19.
It is unfathomable. And I don't want to dwell on it, but seriously, did you ever think you'd see a time where you're watching Florida State baseball where they won 2 of their last 19 games?
No, 2 of their last 21.
2 of their last 21
You're
games.
giving them too much credit.
God, dog, that's impossible.
It's impossible in modern college baseball to be this bad.
It's terrible. It's criminally bad. It is hard. to watch. And
I get it. You're going to go off on it. It's fine. Let's move on. Hey, put Taylor Swift up.
Parker writes, now that spring is over, how much did your view of this team increase or maybe decrease in terms of competing for the college football championship or ACC championship? Thank you, guys, and congratulations, Corey.
Thank you.
Very well done, Parker. All right. I don't know that it's increased or decreased at all. I thought that prior to spring, Florida State would be a team that competes for the ACC championship. I still believe that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely didn't decrease. And I would say that, I on the surface, I wouldn't say it's increased, but I would say this. There are some players on this team that I believe are better. They were top flight players that are better now than they were 4 months ago. Like Johnny Wilson, I thought was better all spring. We didn't get to see him in the spring game.
Yeah.
But I thought he was better all spring than he was last fall. I think Jared Verse is getting better. He's adding more tools to his toolbox, and that's crazy to think.
I think Renardo Green was better.
Green was better.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Travis was maybe even better. So, I mean,
Trey Vincent's it's hard to tell with the green jersey, but David Johnson wants him to be better.
So I think, so no, definitely haven't decreased.
Is there any chance at all that Toa Feely moves to wide receiver?
I love him over there, and
What
he's
do you think,
explosive.
Tyler?
And we talk about the lack of explosiveness at that position.
Man, that is a tough cover in the slot.
He's
Not
really
for a
good,
linebacker,
man. He's
for
really
a
good.
Division I nickel back. He is a tough dude to cover.
Well,
in the slot.
he'll be a Swiss Army knife. He doesn't
Yeah, I
have
think
to be
he'll line up at
designated.
both.
Yeah, he'll line up as both. I like that versatility, but he does have great hands, and he is one of those guys that if he catches it and you miss a tackle, can go to the house, and there aren't many.
I thought it was a cool, your guy Chris Thompson the other day talking about your favorite position, the tight end.
Yeah.
When he was talking the other day, that interview, if you want to watch it, Chris Thompson's not the most energetic, charismatic speaker.
I like Chris though,
but he's a football coach.
Yes,
and
he
got,
is.
And when he was talking about the tight ends and what it gives them when now having Jaheim Bell and Morlock and Marquiston, just when you put those tight ends out there now and they don't know, are they blocking or are they going to run routes? It puts a lot of conflict on the defense.
And you can keep a defense out on the field who's tired because they can't change personnel because you don't have to change personnel. So now we're going, and that's your ass. Should be a lot of fun. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393 or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
Trucking accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. All heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now. 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Some people call me Paul because I work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Everyone that works here will proudly answer to the name Paul. One of the things I love about my job is that I get to help people fix their problems every day. If you have pests in your home and you're like 99.9% of the people I deal with, you want them gone, not tomorrow, but right now. It always puts a smile on my face to hear the reaction of a customer when I tell them we'll have someone out there in a couple of hours. At Paul's, I get the privilege of making your environment safer and more healthy for your family and pets. And because Paul's provides a same-day service guarantee with minimal wait, we get to begin the process right after I receive the call.
If you live in Leon County and call us by noon, Paul's Pest Control will be out by 5, guaranteed. We're a local company, and it's our mission to help keep Tallahassee area customers comfortable and free from the problem that pests bring. And we do so with treatments that are friendly to our environment for the elimination of termites and any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
MLB is finally back in full swing, and MyBookie is going to be your one-stop shop for all your betting needs with a wide range of betting options, including money lines, run lines, totals, and futures. MyBookie gives you plenty of ways to bet on your favorite teams and players. You can also take advantage of brand new MyBookie Money Bag, which gives you the chance to secure a bet on your favorite team or player at insanely boosted odds. Sign up today at MyBookie and use promo code WARCHANT to secure a first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It's simple. Deposit $200 and play with $300 instantly. Just use promo code WARCHANT to claim your bonus. So if you're a baseball fan looking to add even more excitement to the new season, look no further than MyBookie. Sign up now and get ready to experience the thrill of baseball, betting like never before. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
You think they could designate to have their extra funds, the funds that MyBookie gives them, like to our accounts?
Probably.
Like if you sign like a referral thing, like you refer a friend for an
did we
apartment
get
or something.
$100?
Yeah, like maybe we could try to work on that.
I kind of like that.
You could split it with us.
Charles writes, fun question. If you had to become a K through 12 teacher for a year, so just a year, which grade should you teach and which subject?
I could do third grade math. Well, no, I don't even know if I could do it now because they do all that convoluted, crazy math.
Yeah.
You can't just remember that 9 times 7 is 63. You've got to go and do this.
You don't have to.
Around
They
the park.
teach you many different ways. Common Core.
Yeah, but they won't let you just do it off the top of your head.
No,
you got to
not
show
off the
your
top
work.
of your head. You got to
It's
show
like,
your
I don't
work.
need to show my work.
Helps
I
you way
know
down
it.
the line when you're doing calculus.
But I think third to fourth grade, probably third grade is that sweet spot because kids are still pretty sweet. There's no hormones at all.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be a middle school kid. Because
Oh,
I'll throw them out a
not.
window.
Or maybe a senior, 12th grade.
So I was going to say, you think the young kids but you're also hurting cats because they're just everywhere. They're not listening to it. Have you ever coached like T-ball or whatever?
I think I'm going 9th grade history.
No, are you
9th
crazy?
grade history.
You have a
I'm going to be the reason that they love school.
You're going to show up on videos on social media.
No, I'm not. Well,
that's throwing
every
a kid
teacher,
against a wall.
You're throwing an eraser at a kid.
I'm going to say 12th grade newspaper class.
That's not bad.
I'm teaching newspapers.
Yeah,
I don't care if the newspapers aren't around anymore. I'm teaching newspaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote for the Centurion at Lakewood High School, and we got to fly to New York City. So you get a trip involved in all that, buddy.
I think 12th grade is the right answer. I think kids kind of know. They're not even kids. Some of them are adults. They know what they are. They're gonna be.
They don't know what
they're almost done. They're done with school.
But they're checking out, man. They're not even going to pay attention to you.
Absolutely. I don't want anybody paying attention to me.
Congrats, Corey, writes Michael. Well done. In the spirit of the nuptials, let's play a little game of FMK for former FSU teams. First, let's do the national championship.
I'm not doing any of them. I can't think of any of those verbs that I'm going to agree to put a name to. But thank you for the.
It is kind of funny.
It is.
He's talking about the team, the 2000 team, 2022 team, the 98 team, the 2014 team.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to answer.
Obviously, it doesn't mean literally.
Mm-hmm.
Greg writes, who is the most important player to commit to Mike since he arrived in Tallahassee? And why is it Jermaine Johnson despite only playing one season?
It's a good one. Jermaine's the gift that keeps on giving.
Does Travis count? Because Travis was already here, but yeah, all right. He's the most important player of the Mike Norvell era. But yeah, it's probably Jermaine Johnson. Jared Verse was a big deal too.
Yeah, it was a good one.
But you don't get him without Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's Jermaine, man. I really do. Who are we going to go after, and who is showing interest in the portal for men's basketball? He wants to know anything new with men's basketball other than what we already know.
Men's basketball.
Hey, man, it's a question.
I know.
So they have gotten 2 transfers in.
Mm-hmm.
They've had 2 players leave. 2 of your top 3 scorers.
Yep.
Not ideal. But you know what? I think it's all going to – nothing's changed except that they haven't landed any big-time players in the sense of it's not like they're done. This is the argument I've had with a couple of people on the message boards. It's not like there was a 2-for-2 trade. It was like, Caleb Mills and Matthew Cleveland left.
No, there's
they
more
went and
that
got these 2 other guys.
Yeah.
They're still trying to get 3 or 4 other guys. We'll see what they get. Here's my, and again, since somebody asked, I'm going to throw it. My concern at the end of or during last season was that Leonard Hamilton wouldn't be willing to make major changes on his roster. I thought, from what we've seen in the past, he hasn't run off guys. So my concerns were, would he do it? And if he did it, would they have anything in place to help attract players? Well, the 2 answers in the affirmative were they are willing to make changes. They want to bring in 4 or 5.
They won 9 games.
Yes, but I needed to hear that.
They won less games than the football team.
But I needed to hear that. So I heard that. Then I need to hear that, okay, do you have anything in terms of NIL opportunities that are going to make you an attractive school? And I've heard that they are. So they're in the mix. But
well, that's obvious, Ira. They got a kid that averaged 9.5 at VCU and a kid from LaSalle. Of course they're in the NIL game. But to your point, I think that's what gets people freaked out is like the big name hasn't happened yet.
Well, this is the problem. But the problem is, and this is not like revolutionary, but every kid you're competing with every other program, like all of these kids, everybody wants them.
Yeah.
So it's not enough just to have NIL opportunities.
I worried when NIL came about that it was the death of Leonard's program in basketball.
That's not. I don't agree with that because
we're going to continue to disagree on this.
Because that makes the implication then is that there's no NIL opportunities for Florida State, and that's not true.
I'm not saying
but when you say it like that, that's what it implies.
But
what it implies is that you're not going to beat Kansas or anybody who's really good for a kid who wants.
Well, the bigger problem is that everybody else has it too, and they've had success.
Right.
That's the bigger problem. The problem is you went 9-23.
Correct.
You in the NIL world,
he's doomed, which was my original point.
Well, I'm not. We don't know that. I mean,
But my opinion is he's doomed.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Clearly,
it sure looks like they're not doing anything of major significance.
Yeah, but they
got
some time. They got some time, and
I'm rooting. Man, I love the guy.
I think the chemistry will be better from some.
How could it not?
But you also need talent to win, and they've got to obviously upgrade the roster a little bit. Hey, can you put up the guy that donated?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading questions over here. Yeah, let's go back to that. Thanks for the great content. Congratulations, Corey. That's from Robert.
Thanks, Robert. I just wanted another congratulations, but also he did donate. We need to acknowledge Robert. That's very nice of him to do that.
Very nice.
That goes to the wedding fund.
Good job, Robert. I was making sure I didn't miss anybody else here, guys. Is anybody else that I've missed? Okay, we're good. We're caught up. So back to these questions. I was thrilled, writes Matthew, when the new uniforms were announced. It felt like I was seeing an old friend who'd been away for many years. Can Ira's wife start making us an Afghan of elation to counter the quilt of suck we've worn for way too long now? If so, can this
get the shade of garnet?
Can this be the second square after the 10-win season patch? This is good.
She could make an Afghan.
She could do it.
Yeah,
she takes orders, right?
Not so much.
Oh, she just does her own thing.
Yeah.
Well,
you want it.
There's some money opportunities here, Ira.
Believe me, I've tried.
Go. Okay.
But apparently, it's more her hobby than it is a money-making venture.
We can all
we can turn this around.
Hobbies.
Yeah. Good luck. I've been trying.
Tony Hawk's hobby was skateboarding.
Yeah.
Until he became a gazillionaire.
Who had a better weekend? Kentron Portier, Kalen DeLoach, or Stephanie and Sweet Pea?
Probably Stephanie. What a weekend for her, right?
That was Nate.
How often does she call you Sweet Pea?
Never. But she did change my name in her phone to Fiance. So she gets a big jolt out of that every time I text her. I haven't done that yet. I'm waiting to refer to her as my second wife. I'm going to put that.
Yeah, they love it.
They love when
just
you say
put
it's my
number,
second
just
wife.
number two.
Number two, wife two.
Yep.
Wife two of, and then ...
Tony writes, "What's up, fellas? Congrats to Corey and Stephanie on the
you.
engagement, and that was cool of you to share it with us. My question is based on what you all think that the defense will be this season, which is the lowest score that the team could score in any particular game, and you believe you'll still win." That's a toughie. I'm asking because everyone says that the offense should score a lot of points, but I think there may be some games where the defense has to help the team win a game or two.
Look, man, the LSU, what is that? The 19 LSU team that had the best offense of all time. They beat Auburn like 17-10 or something in one of those games. You're
going to have a game where the weather or whatever reason,
so last
it's windy.
year you had LSU sort of, although I just think you left way too many points out there. In NC State, you still could have won that game with 20 points. And you should have had 20 points if you had a kick.
Yeah, the NC State game is the one that's still.
But I'm
really
saying you
tough.
can win. Your defense can hold you up, and you can have a bad game or two on offense by your standards and still win with 20 to 24 points, and also still average 40. Like there are going to be games where you put up 55 on teams. So, but yeah, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of low 20s.
I think there'll be maybe two games where that would be the case. I think Florida State's going to score a lot of points in a lot of games. That is an offense that when we watch it this spring and you just look at the pieces, and we've gone over this, and Jordan Travis continues to get better. And now you've got three tight ends that all can play. And you've got a deep offensive line and a great backfield in terms of running backs. I don't know how they're not going to score a ton of points. There may be games where you have inclement weather, wind conditions, whatever it might be, and the defense has got to kind of hold up because your offense isn't lighting it up. But on most nights, I think this team's going to score a lot. So if the defense just does a good job of holding people to say 24 or less most games, I think they win them. 24 seems like the number to me. I don't see too many games where Florida State's going to score fewer than 24 points. Do you?
Yeah, did they do it once?
I mean,
year? The NC State game was the only time they did it.
Yeah, the
Maybe?
NC State game. Yeah.
So yeah, and they're going to be better. They should be better on offense.
The road Clemson game, obviously, you got to be good on defense to get a win there. You're going to have to get some stops against LSU to get a win there. But man, I think everybody else you're going to have a lot of success. That's a kind of a fun question. Hello, boys. Saw the news about Brendan Gant entering the portal today, writes Butch, and it got me wondering what happens to a player's money when they are being paid under an existing NIL deal. Are they required to return the portion they didn't earn in their contract? Curious how those elements of NIL work when a player decides to leave. Thank you in advance.
Yeah, a lot of times those deals are made, and again, the NIL world has evolved over these last couple of years. There's a much better position these days. And most of the time the payments are made out over time. So once you stop fulfilling your obligation in an area or a school, and a lot of times the marketing agreements are based on geographical location. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be a wrap around that time.
Yeah, if you're unable to go sign autographs at the spring game like they just did this past
you're not
Saturday,
part of the team
you're not
anymore.
part. Yeah, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
It nullifies the existing.
Yeah, a lot of the marketing deals are based on numbers of appearances or social media posts or appearances and commercials or whatever. Different.
Or you come out to the Jeff Cameron show golf tournament and say hello to people, and then the next day you're at the spring game or whatever it might be.
We found people that were worse putters than us. Than Ira and I.
You're saying Renardo Green wasn't a good putter?
Or we didn't get to see him hit. Yeah, they were not great at it.
Struggled.
Yeah, they do. They're very good athletes, clearly, but they have not mastered that yet.
Don't know that any of the guys had ever picked up a golf club before they tried to tee off on the par 3 that we were at.
Did any of them make contact?
Greedy did late. I think it was like the third or fourth swing. He caught one. It went right, but he got a piece of it. The other guys did swing and miss the ball. Yeah. And that's when, it's like, that's an eye-opening moment for a guy who's an elite athlete. Like, well, maybe golf is hard. That ball's just sitting here and I can't hit it.
Yeah, I do think that, I think Jarian was mad that he was not a better putter.
I mean, he was putting him off the green.
He
had
a
lot of pace on him.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Ward Family Foundation is teaming up with other local organizations in an effort to get more kids involved in youth sports. They're asking for shoe donations for its inaugural multi-sport shoe drive to support underserved student athletes. If you're interested in helping out, the shoe drive is for new or lightly used shoes and cleats. Donations are being accepted now through July 15th. To donate, go to the Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Big Bend's office at 565 East Tennessee Street, or you can donate through their Amazon wish list. An emergency preliminary injunction filed by City Walk Urban Mission to prevent residential occupants at its location on Mahan Drive from vacating the facility was denied by Civil Court Judge Angela C. Dempsey. She noted that City Walk did not establish the elements required for a temporary injunction. The fire marshal sent a notice to City Walk last month that City Walk had to cease housing individuals at the location due to the building not meeting Florida state fire codes, but the building is approved for commercial purposes. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs around 82 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear again tonight, lows level off around 55. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow, highs level off around 86. Bright sunshine expected Thursday with daytime highs approaching 87. 86 Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 79.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BaranoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I like this question because it inspires some hope here a little bit, boys. I think this is a good one. Mike Norvell will always have to own the Jacksonville State game. Now it's evident that Link will have to own breaking the playoff streak. But in just a short period of time, we're flipping 5-star tight ends from Georgia. Will we soon be celebrating baseball in the same way?
I don't think it's gonna be long.
I don't think it'll be long either. The track record of success for Link Jarrett everywhere he's been is obvious. You can go back and look it up yourselves, and you guys all know he's been really good. There's no reason to believe he suddenly doesn't know what he's doing. So based on his track record, I do think he'll get it turned around. You do wonder how quickly you can do it, but again, rumors are that they're looking to replace 20 some odd players after the end of this year. So that's
just a whole new team.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But hey, listen, they suck.
And that's not new for baseball. The transfer portal's always been in effect for baseball. Baseball players have always been like 1 year basically deals. And so it's not uncommon to bring in a whole new team pretty quickly. There's some guys on this team who can play. They're in such a crappy situation right now where you've got some young guys who are some talented young guys that just aren't ready. And they're being thrown into these really difficult positions day in and day, can't get a day off. They're just in it. And then you've got a lack of quality older players. And so it's just a tough situation. But I mean, they're going hard in the junior college ranks, the transfer portal. So it's going to look like a different team. And I think there's no doubt he can coach this year, man. I don't know how they may not win 5 more games. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
The schedule is softened up, Ira, coming up here. You got North Florida, you got Virginia Tech, you got Notre Dame. You can beat. I mean, Notre Dame.
That's
going to
be a tough
good.
trip for Link when he goes up there.
They might be coming here.
No, I think it's up there.
It's up there. Oh yeah. When he goes up there,
because he got a sweep down here.
Riding that record.
It's tough when you're not just when you're losing and you're losing in record-breaking fashion, but they keep losing like a lot of 1-run, 2-run games. They've been pasted plenty. Don't get me wrong, like the first game of the NC State series, but you have a chance to win those 2 games. They haven't quit. They're in them. It's 4-3. It's 5-4. It's right there. Baseball, just the way the game is played most of the time, you're going to stumble into some of these wins. It is remarkable. They can't even accidentally win a baseball game.
No.
Where baseball is just baseball. You know, you nub one off the end of the bat that you're fooled on, and it falls between 3 people and 2-run score, and that's the difference of the game.
Was it 3 of the last 4 that they had the lead, like in the 8th?
Oh, yeah.
They did against Florida,
they did
too.
against
Keep doing
Florida,
that
too.
over and over again. But they like baseball being baseball, as we say, just hasn't even happened for them.
No.
Well, it's,
maybe that was the beginning of the year they got their lucky run.
You're not really giving baseball a chance to be baseball if you're just going to walk everybody.
Or not draw walks yourselves, which you are. I looked this up yesterday, Jeff, and then we're done with baseball talk.
Oh, boy.
They've walked as an offense 77 times less this season than they've walked opponents. And they've been hit 19 less times than they've hit opponents. So you're talking about 100 extra base runners this season that the other team has had that you haven't had because you will not walk. And, you will walk their guys.
Oh, you can't wait.
That is.
You can't wait to walk.
Can't wait to see if he'll
it's
swing
like
at a 3-0
you think
pitch
that
out
is
of the
the
zone.
object of the game.
Yeah.
To see if you walk
yeah.
effectively. We're good at it.
Yeah.
We'll walk your ass.
Link deserves some blame. I mean, he's not absolved of how bad this team is, but it's not his team. These aren't all his players. I mean, some of them are freshmen, some of them are guys he brought in, but he's not absolved of it because he was handed a mess.
I do believe
he has not made chicken salad out of anything, though.
It is interesting, though. You get back to
he has
confidence.
thrown that chicken blank on the wall and smeared it on things,
and then it's face others.
It's all over.
Yeah, no. But honestly, what's interesting, I love the psychology of sports because a lot of times it's fascinating to watch what happens when you're devoid of confidence. You know, working with Trey for a long time with the golf team, he always talks about how you could have a player who's physically capable of going out and shooting a low number, and then has a bad round, just plays poorly. And then if he follows that up with a poor round and another poor round, he might be an unsuccessful player by the end of the year. But he's physically the same guy.
Same thing happened to you and
I in our round of golf the other day.
Yeah.
We were fine until we had
a couple bad shots on the first, and they were like, Aslan, Keith, go for it.
That brings up something, my last point I want to make about basketball.
Oh,
okay?
Lord have mercy.
All right, here we go.
People have I keep seeing people judging Baba Miller and a couple other players on the team based on last season. And I just feel like you can't hold what happened last season against any of those guys because they were, especially Baba Miller.
Well, he was thrown into a nightmare.
In the middle of
a situation.
I mean, what do you want from him? He's a freshman. He's all the hype, misses 16 games, was hurt before that even happened. And then like people are like mad that he's not Kevin Durant. Well, he might be a really good player. We may see a Baba Miller. Like people are kind of scoffing at him coming back, announcing he's coming back. He may end up being like one of the top 12 or 13 players in the ACC. I mean, he's a talent. People thought he was a first round talent. Let's see what he is in a real team. And if you get Gainey back, and if you get Cam Fletcher back, and if you a couple of the young guys like Chandler Jackson, those guys develop, that team may be better. And now you bring in some pieces. That's why I push back at it's doomed, because I really think you just got to get a couple more nice players to go with what they have coming back, because what you've seen out of the guys that are coming back, I just don't think it's fair to judge them based on last season.
Yeah, and defining our terms is important too. I mean, when I say he's doomed, I just mean I don't see a way back to where they were. And Ham doesn't have that much longer to coach, almost by definition. He's going to be 75 when they tip it off next year. So, trying to get back to where they were just a few short years ago, where unfortunately the pandemic ruined a chance to go to the Final Four. Like, I just don't think they're going to get back to anywhere close to that.
I'm not expecting that, or do I think it's realistic?
Makes me sad. It makes me sad.
But what would make me sad is for him to go out the way this last season went.
Well, well, he's not, because he's not. They can't be that bad again. I mean, we certainly hope.
Don't hold my beer.
Well, now see, guys, we can't escape it. Gator Kirk, congrats, Corey and Stephanie, with the baseball team. Will the baseball team have over under 21 wins this year? I think people.
What are they at now? Look, it's important. I'll be honest.
13,
It is
13 maybe.
It's very important for them to continue this streak of 20 wins in a season. They are like 71 in a row or whatever it is. We got to get them there. They've already extended the 15 wins in a season streak. What are they at, Ira? How many wins they have? 14?
They have 13.
Oh no! So they've already extended.
13
Get them to
and
15
22.
first.
They're 13 and 22.
And they were 11 and 3.
4 and 14 in the conference.
Yeah. So if they can get that streak to 15 wins, yeah, man, if they can, when they win 8 games, yeah, they can win 8 games. They've been close to winning a lot of these games. Some guy's going to line into a triple play with the bases loaded. That stuff will
baseball
just turn.
being baseball.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for that to happen. It just never does.
I think they get to 20 for sure. That 21st is going to be dicey. A win tomorrow would help against North Florida.
I think it's tonight, isn't it?
I think it's tomorrow. I think they
tomorrow at North Florida.
Hey, they need to go 3-1 this week. They got North Florida and then 3 against Vatech at home. That's 3-1 all day.
We'll see.
You don't go into the Osprey Palace or whatever it's called over there and just expect to walk out with
Osprey Palace.
Marion writes, if you guys had to bet your homes on whether or not FSU will beat North Florida or the football team winning at least 9 games, which would you choose? Football all day long.
I'd bet all of your homes.
Yeah, there's no chance.
I mean, they don't have midweek pitching.
I don't expect Florida State to beat North Florida.
No. I don't think who would.
Let me ask you this. If Link went over to Mike Norvell tomorrow morning, say, Coach, give me 15 guys. Would he have a decent chance? Would he have as good a chance of winning?
15 of the Florida State football players? Look,
you'd have some speed.
No, you'd have some speed that you could use, I guess. I just don't know if they haven't played the sport, Ira. I don't know that they're going to, even North Florida's pitching, I don't know that they're going to, North Florida's midweek pitching might be too much for
Just thinking back to when I wanted to move Buster Posey to quarterback. I feel like there's some, what about 5? If he just went and got 5 guys.
There's a guy like Jordan Travis has to be pretty good, right?
His brother was in the major leagues.
I bet Renardo Green was a good baseball player. Those guys all played good. They had to have all played. Most of them played baseball in high school.
It's been a while though. I just, but
get him in the cage.
Give him in the cage for about 2 hours. See if it comes back to him.
Could it be a whole lot worse?
Absolutely not.
Would they lose more than 2 out of 20? Would they lose more than 19 out of 21?
If you just told them to stand in the batter's box and hold the bat on their shoulder,
maybe
try to
lean in
work
a little bit.
Get a walk
and
in
get
there.
a hit by pitch.
That's a toughie. How many players do we need to leave to get to under 85?
Here's the challenge. There's always a couple of guys that we're not 100% sure of whether or not they're on scholarship. So that makes it dicey.
Yeah, that makes it really
but
difficult.
it's in the neighborhood. I believe it's in the neighborhood between 2 and 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I think
that's what I remember checking.
And I think there's easily going to be, but again, now you got Dustin Hill showing up allegedly. So now that's another guy.
But you did lose Woody today,
right?
So here we go.
Yeah.
So it's So it's hard to nail it down exactly, but somewhere in that ballpark. But that's just to get to even. Then you still have to, if you're going to add more guys, then you need more guys to leave. Like
James
you guys
B's,
want linebackers and safeties.
James B's right. I bet Rodemaker can throw some gas.
Ooh, I bet Rodemaker.
And
he's
tall,
a good athlete. He's a really good athlete.
Maybe Duffy.
You may be right.
Maybe Duffy, but definitely Rodemaker. And Rodemaker can kind of, he's got a little wild thing in him.
Can I share a quick Brock Glenn story from the other day of practice?
Sure.
This was like one of my. I've always liked Brock Glenn. I've liked him just like you guys have, but this made me like him even more. He's running a play where he's scrambling and he's kind of running to the sideline, and there's a DB running over. And usually when there's that moment, like when the DB or the linebacker's racing to the spot where they're going to hit the quarterback, but they know they can't hit the quarterback. They lay up, and usually the quarterbacks will laugh. Like Jordan Travis will smile as he's running out of bounds.
Yeah, it makes you want to hit him.
Brock Glenn looked like he was mad that he couldn't have the collision.
He wanted to run him over.
I was fired up. I was like, all right, Brock Glenn. Like he was like, he had the look that the defensive players usually have.
That's a big, strong kid now. And he's only going to get bigger because apparently he loves to lift weights. You're going to have to tell him to slow his roll on some of the upper body stuff. You don't see a lot of massive quarterbacks typically.
No.
So he's big, strong kid. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Who had the better proposal, Brady Scott or Corey Clark?
Good point. I wonder if Brady was at home laughing at you for ruining Seminole Headlines.
Because I was going to say we had a really good show like we always do, our first live one, and I capped it off. We didn't just have the worst show in Warchant history, and then
did it. Yeah.
You said
I don't know that I would have been a part of that.
It would have been as if Ira passed out drunk. You said something abhorrent, like just incredibly racist or sexist.
I wouldn't do that.
I know, but something that would almost get us taken off the air. And then after that, let me.
Hey, everybody.
I'm going to propose to Stephanie. Isn't this the right time? So that did not happen. So definitely me, I think.
Brent wants to know, has the baseball team pulled a Miami Hurricane football move and just given up entirely?
No, they were in the lead in the 10th inning.
They continue to be in the lead in the 8th, 9th, and 10th innings of games when they have opportunities, only to walk in the go-ahead runs. God, dog it.
They were like high school games, they only played 7 innings. They'd be on the bubble right now.
They have not given up, Brent. That's the point I was making earlier today, that they have fought in these games and had chances to win them. They just can't.
Baseball's a hard sport to give up in because it's still so individualistic that you still want to have
numbers
a good
are your numbers. You still want to play well.
If you're a pitcher, you still want to get people out. You don't want to just get shelled and embarrassed. And a hitter wants to still make contact.
Sometimes you can't tell that though.
No, you can't.
You can look.
There's a question in the chat. Somebody asked about I guess it was Houston Barber asked, could any of the defensive tackles move over to the edge to fill that hole that they lost from McClendon?
Maybe move Briggs back.
Well,
keep him on the yo-yo forever.
It's funny about that though. Like it is weird that if they had to pick a position for him, why they went with tackle, because I mean he's probably he might be third team tackle.
And I really like him. I think he's a good football player.
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Now he'll be used in certain fronts, but I do think they'll move him out on the edge.
Yeah, they might.
I think you might see him out there. You might see Bishop Thomas, Braden Fisk. They do. To answer your question, Houston, yes, I do think they've got some athletic tackles that they can make big ends.
But I don't know that they'll move them there.
Not play in and play out, but
in certain situations they'll move them to.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see some 3-man fronts.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to kind of confuse quarterbacks. I mean, we were pretty much locked in the same thing all the time, and that's fine. You have to play to your personnel, but I think you have personnel now that you can do some things that are.
You definitely have ends for a 3-man front for sure.
Yeah. So no, I'm excited about this. Looks like the baseball gods demand a sacrifice for us to finally get our first national title, the playoff streak, etc. In truth, I know things look dark now, but I strongly believe in the next few years we'll be up in Omaha celebrating our first national championship. I look forward to the day celebrating with you three. My dad, which I could be. And
when
we didn't
start talking about his dad, the headlines is like we're done with that. We're not a dad show.
We've got our own dad problems.
My dad's alive and well, and maybe he'll be in Omaha with us to be your dad.
That's
and
what
your
we're hoping
dad.
for.
Correct. Yeah, somebody to hug.
Yeah.
But
3 years from now, huh?
Here's the thing, and the other thing we didn't mention is, again, for people that don't pay attention to baseball, the Wyatt Crowell thing was already going to be a tough year. Wyatt Crowell being shut down and having Tommy John surgery was, the death.
If he was pitching, and this, I'm not trying to be funny, they've lost. They're 2-19 in the last 21. If he was around, they'd be 6-15.
Maybe
7-14.
They were 5-0
in
the games he pitched.
Yeah,
so they could have closed out some of these damn wins.
And what's happening now is you don't have any reliable starters, and so when somebody their only hope is that Baumeister goes 6 or 7, and if he does, that gives you a chance. But he didn't, and then Carson comes in for 2 1/3, and it's just like that's why you end up the guys on the back end giving up all these leads.
And I pointed this
they're
out
pitching guys that they didn't expect to be pitching.
In a text to Ira, like Crowell has 2 arms. He can't pitch with the other one. There's no rule that says you can't throw right-handed when you're a left-handed pitcher.
Crowell pitching right-handed
might be better than what we got.
Some football players. That might be.
But yeah, we've solved this issue.
And on that note, we're leaving.
And maybe some basketball
players. We're done.
You don't want them.
No, this is all such a terrible thing.
Tanaya Latson.
Well,
so this is what we had to do. This is what we had to do to win in football.
Yeah,
let everything else go to hell in a handbasket. For Corey and Ira, I'm Jeff. Thanks so much, everybody. We appreciate it as always. Be well. We'll talk to you really soon.